Okay, here we are set up and ready to play Era. I have, I think the U.S. deck over, the uh, U.S. Revolutionary deck over here, and the Egyptian deck here. We're going to see how the game actually plays out. Let's follow our sequence. No points are earned. The Continentals are going to go first. Resource gathering, they don't have anything on the board, so they can't gather any resources. Card dealing. Okay, well, they get 6 cards. By the way, like when you're constructing a Magic deck or whatever, you want to shuffle the hell out of these. I did, like 8 riffles, some mixing in, and then another 7 or 8 riffles on each deck. So, a fair amount. And this is what's beautiful and why cards like this can be, you can make a game like this. Ever since Magic came out, basically the quality of cards that are available for games. It used to be, you could get good cards for a Risk, something that had millions and millions of copies. But now the market is able, the printing market is able to put out low quantities of really good quality cards. So, Magic came out with a lot of cards, but at about the same, still not the same kind of numbers that you were seeing with the games that from my era that had cards in them. If you look at like Up Front or something like that with its perforated paper cards or cardstock cards, it's just such a difference what can be produced in large quantities now, but with really high quality. And one nice thing, these are flexible cards. They're easy to shuffle. The early Magic cards were not. The alphas, at least, were kind of problematic with that. Afterwards, they got better. Some companies like GMT, since we were doing Lily banners, although that doesn't have any cards, have this tendency to put these really stiff armored cards in. They're not good. You want a lot of flexibility, especially if you're going to have a lot of shuffling. And there's a fair amount of shuffling in this game. Okay, so let me deal 6 cards. There's a number of reviewers. I watched a couple of the reviewers. I don't know how many there are. There aren't very many. And by the way, you don't want to watch by introduction unless you're my kind of viewer, basically, because I'm not going to explain the game to you in an easy way. I worked my way through the rule book, etc. Because this is all the experience of looking at a game for the first time, not necessarily being the best tool that's out there for people that are out there. And in part, what's nice about that is you don't have to take my word for the things that I judge that are good or bad, and then, do I tend to agree with this guy? No, you get to see everything played out. The thing you don't get to see, of course, though, is the multiplayer in action. Very few games get that. Anyway, but what I was saying is many of the other reviewers, well, of the 2 other reviewers that there were that I saw, one of the things that was noted is that this is an innovative design. One especially interesting mechanism here is this idea of just discarding cards without looking at them, right? So that's what we're going to do right now. And we look for the tableau. Draw pile, discard pile. We'll keep those back there. But we're going to try to follow this. So the conflict pile I'll put up here, and the build pile to this side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop 4 cards into the build pile. I don't need a conflict pile right now. My opponent does not have any cards that I can attack. So this should be cool. And then we get to the card committing. Oh no, that's what we just did. We get to the card play side of things. And I look at my hand. Well, I don't have a lot of choices. I have 2 6-point cards. I am going to take the tactics option because I don't have 6 points in here. And these are cards that are good. Well, first of all, they're locked, so I couldn't even play them. I don't have the points for them, so I can't play them. But these cards are good at attacking the attack cards that come from, that are opposing me. So that's an interesting concept. I've got like 1 attack on each. These are highly defensive if they end up doing whatever the enhancement is called. I can't remember the terms. Okay, so I'm going to be taking the tactics option. I don't play any cards from my hand, including resource cards. I can put one of those cards face down into my conflict pile. That'll be over here. The other one gets discarded because I had nothing to do. I'm not allowed to attack. That's fine. I wasn't planning on it. Now we go to the other player. He's going to get 8 cards. No point earning, no resource gathering. Amount of worry about my shuffling. Yeah, I did a lot of shuffling, but I got 2 of the same card pasted together. Yeah. I never trust that I can shuffle something particularly well, but when you get a brand new deck of regular poker cards or whatever, and you shuffle them 7 times, that's supposed to pretty much mix them up, as long as they're not perfect shuffles. If they're perfect shuffles, you get the same deck, which... okay. So now what's my situation? Well, I've got nothing to attack, so I'm not going to put anything in the conflict. We already... Oh, he only put 4 in, yeah. We already saw with him that putting 4 cards in the build pile was not good enough. I'm going to put the build piles opposite each other. I'm going to put 6 in here. Make sure that I have a decent amount. I might get unlucky and get things I'm not able to play again. Okay. So I got 2. I got British Redcoats, which I can play for no cost. Of course, they can't do anything. Now, they have the capacity to prevent B keys. This is an A, so they're not of importance there. And I've got this. This costs me 1 card to play, and it's going to give me production. And it provides a B key, I think, to the opposing player. That's a little weird. I'm assuming it'll provide it only to attack cards that they're hitting me with. But I don't know. And I have to pay for that with a card. I discard my card. Oh, look, it was somebody who would allow me to tuck a card underneath. Now we go back here, because I can't do any conflict. I don't have a conflict pile. No points to earn, no resources to gather. I get my 8 cards. Kind of expressed during the intro portion. There doesn't feel like there's real conflict, right? Yeah, I got these conflict cards and I get to pay for them or whatever, But there's no sort of, I'm not holding a hand of cards and trying to decide, I want to hold on to this because this is a good counter to his nastiness or whatever. I don't have any opportunities for anything like that. I don't have a hand of cards in the normal sense. Like in Magic, you would keep, an interrupt to deal with the enemy for something or whatever. I don't have any of that kind of concept here. That means that this, playing this solo works just fine, multi-handed. And it might not be hard. There was some discussion about, hey, a solo bot or something. It might not be hard to build a solo bot that works because you don't have to worry about what the opponent's holding. Okay. I've got 4 cards in here. I've got 1 card in here for attack. I would like to be able to build an attack card if I get one, because he's going to get a victory point if I'm not careful. Now, this is hard to kill, so I'm going to focus on trying to prevent him from getting too many of those progress markers, is what they're called. So I think I'm going to throw 2 cards into here, and 1, 2, 3 into here. That keeps me 3 cards. And now I get to play, and I did not get any combat cards. I get the U.S. Treasury, which is going to give me, I'm not going to be able to follow things completely. This should be facing like this. But I want to keep some stuff facing me. And then I have 2 cards that I could build. The Boston Tea Party is good at attacking this. No, it's not, because it's got skulls. That has shields. Jefferson has 3 skulls. He doesn't have an attack card that can hit that either. What do I have here that I could build? Well, both of these are individual cards. So even though there's a lot of Jefferson and a lot of Boston Tea Party, all I can do is protect them, essentially, at this point, for whatever that's worth. Boston Tea Party's a lot of stars. I'm kind of unhappy about losing that. This gives me a couple of eyes. I could put the Boston Tea Party under there, and that would give it to me later. Since I don't have a real need for it right now, that's not a bad idea. So let's say this produces coins, but it's a crappy card to have in your deck. It doesn't help with combat. So let's say instead I pay 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I wouldn't have had enough to buy both cards anyway. I put the Boston Tea Party under him. These get discarded. I think I get to look at what I lose here. Another Jefferson, a bubonic plague, which wouldn't be able to affect that. This. Actually, it would. Boston Tea Party again, another bubonic plague, and an Adams, which gives me a B. I'm already being given a B, but I think that key is only for my attack cards. Gotta look that up. The fact that I have B keys here means that I do have to worry about it. Where's the little arrow? Yeah, see, the way this is worded, it gives you the capability to play the bubonic plague, is basically what it does. Okay, such is. So now I have a victory point generator too. It's possible to damage, though. And I don't know what else to say. For conflict, the only thing I could attack, because I'm using my own deck, is the red coats here. There's only one red coats. And yeah, I'm not able to because I don't have any attack capability, actually. All right, so we go back over here, and we got to swap batteries, which means I have to reset date and time and all that shit. So another 8 cards, but I got a point for this. 15 of them wins the game. Resource gathering, I don't have any resource combination here. Why is this set up like this? To match this other side, I want these here. I'm going to change my tableau situation. Okay. So, I would like to have some conflict cards. There's no question about that. But he doesn't really give me any capability to hit anything yet. So, let's put 2 cards in the conflict deck over here. Now, in terms of reshuffling and stuff, cards are going on the top of the decks. That doesn't matter until I run out of deck, but what it does kind of mean, does it mean anything? I don't know. It may mean that the same cards are getting recycled if this stays too solid. I have a fair amount of cards here. I'm going to put 3. That'll give me 3 that I'm holding to see what I want. I have another victory point card, and he has no attacks. That's interesting. I have Crusader Knights who require an A to use. I will not be able to use this card. I have Castle, which is a really nice victory point card. It cancels out, though, my capabilities. Or my opponents. It'll cancel out an opponent's capability to attack me at all. Wow, that's a humongous card. It gets rid of 1 of each attack. That's a really powerful card. So I definitely want this. So I'll pay 8 of that, if I have it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Throw out my Hamlet and put this powerful castle in play. Who am I? I'm the Crusaders. Okay. And that'll be giving me 2 production a turn now. Plus, I really kind of hammer his capabilities. So this changes the nature of the game in a significant way that I played that. Because now his attack cards, he's going to have to really play a fair amount of attack cards to get around these hits. So maybe he wants to race me for victory points, but maybe he can't. This is where knowing the deck is what's important. I have to know this guy's deck to know where I'm going to get, how many shields I'm going to be able to get. And I have to know my own deck to know, can I generate victory points as quickly as he can? Well, he's going to be possibly destroying me if I do. I doubt I have anything like a castle that prevents me from being attacked. So that's nasty. Here's my hand. My feeling is, look, I have 3 cards already in here. I don't need a lot of attack cards, a lot of conflict cards in there, because the problem is I'm going to be being canceled out. I don't have a lot of build cards in here. I want to make sure that I have a decent number of cards left. I think I'm going to put 4 build cards. I'll keep increasing my attack cards. Oops, forgot to take my victory point. These arrows make more sense when they're facing that way, as they would be in normal play, but it's hard for me to deal with this. And I have these. I also have this, which I'll take into my hand. I can always put it back, so no biggie there. Okay. I have Boston Tea Parties. Those are useful for shooting down his attack cards. I have Washington, who gives me an A. That would help me with the Continental Army, which I need to beat that up. Franklin is useful because he gives me money when combined with that. So this is a painful look. I didn't get any of the attack cards I wanted. How many build cards do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 is not optimal. I would have liked 7 because I would have liked Washington to produce points for me. I think I'm going to buy Franklin. And I don't know how useful the Boston Tea Party is. Do I want to put those points in there? See, if I have him here, he can't end up in there. And he's a valuable card in there with his 4 attack. I don't want to waste cards, though, so I am going to spend 5 of these. Although, you know, in a way, I'm wasting my build cards by doing this. I burn a bunch of build cards to put both Franklin and the Boston Tea Party into play. You can see this is going to get pretty cluttered pretty fast, and I'm almost out of battery again. This will be this turn here. Fast-paced interactive games are kind of problematic in terms of eating up a lot of battery. Okay, so I've got my 8 cards. I think I collected 1 when I should have collected 2. There we go. Okay. I think... Or did I get 2 turns with the port already? He went first, didn't play anything. Yeah, we got to rebuild the game. He built his port to begin with. He went second, didn't get anything, or his second turn. His second turn, he got 1. But I think I built the castle at that point. So I think this is where we're at. Okay. What do I need to build? Well, I have no build cards, which sucks. I need build cards to put out the attacks that I need to hit his stuff. I need build cards to build my own stuff. I only have a couple attack cards, which is probably not enough, but I've got the advantage on point production right now. So, I want at least 5 in here in my build deck. At least 5. Do I want to bank an attack card? Let's keep 3 cards. We have no production. 3 is a lot. See, this is the hard thing. I'll put a 6th card in here. Okay. I get a freebie. The Crusader Spoils, but I can't build it without an A. I don't have an A. This card is just not going to work. I'm not going to be allowed to use it. I have a Crusader Knight who also needs an A. I don't have an A. So I lose my turn. I'm not able to play a card. Well, when you're not able to play a card, you're able to drop a card into the combat deck. And it's not face up. Is it? Maybe it is. No, face-ups are the special build action. Yeah. Now this goes on top, so I actually know that I have 2 stars on top. That's an interesting piece of information. Why do I want this in my deck? Well, it's less combat stars. That card is probably going to end up in there anyway, so I might as well put that there. That's going to put me over here. When I go over here, I get one of these. And I get a coin. What can I do with the coin? That's an extra build point, essentially. So that's really, or combat point. So that's really a useful advantage to be able to have money. Obviously, he has capability for money as well, but until he gets that A key, his Crusader Knights, which match with it, there may be other things, don't generate any money. Let me draw a new hand of cards. And we're not going to be playing too much longer because this battery is going to run out too. And I only have connections that allow me to load 3 batteries at once, including this one. I could stack them aside, but I'm kind of hungry and sleepy. I only got a couple hours of sleep. I'll be going back. Eyeballs that I have, and especially the Franklin one, which can't be attacked, I can afford to keep more cards here, so I'm going to throw 5 into my build deck. I don't really need anything in my combat deck right now. Okay, I get another Washington. I can't play him except to flourish him. Flourishing him... Oh no, I don't have a Washington yet. Okay, Washington's worth victory points and he's worth an A. But he costs 5. That's a lot. I have a Squalor, which doesn't help me directly, but it's one that can be canceled out. I think I'd like to play that. I have Hamilton, who produces a couple of coins, but isn't terribly valuable. Those coins, I don't have the additional matchings. So Franklin's already giving me coins. So let's look. We are going to, if we have 6, we're going to buy these. And we should have 6 because we put 5 in. We have exactly 6. I'm going to spend those and not the coin because the coin can be used for combat. And I put Squalor up here. That can't even be defeated by these. But it's canceled out by this castle, so I can't do an attack this turn. And I put Washington up, who gives me an A key. And that's going to put me back here. I don't know how my battery's doing right now. I do know that I have to fix that one, though, because it's not charged. I'm pretty good off, actually. I was going to do this and take a pause. Just to let myself know, hey, I've got to remember to collect those. Just get me in the mood of things. Okay, so instead I'm going to fill my pipe. Because, yeah, I'm hungry and tired, but I want to use this one last battery up because I think I'm going to be, this is going to be a battery intensive game. Already a third of the way to victory here with 5 of these. I've got 8 of these. Without knowing the deck, I don't know, you know, what my combat cards are like. Well, without knowing his deck. So even preparing, you know, to know your own deck really well, you still got to kind of know the other guy's deck in terms of what kind of combat you're doing to him. And I have a no B card. Wow, that's painful. But yeah, I don't know whether he's got soldiers with these kind of shields on them with military capability who can be killed by... What am I thinking here? Yeah, I don't know what I'm thinking. Oh, who can be killed by the only attack that he has available for him. Okay. I feel kind of like I'm in a race to get the victory points more than anything else. My build is relatively well stocked. My combat is relatively well stocked. With 8 cards, let's keep 3. I think I'll plug another combat in and a bunch of these because I got boned on my last turn, not getting enough cards. Okay, what do I draw? Well, I draw a lot of fucking heavy-duty stuff. This could win me the game so quickly, getting 4 of these a turn, and it's hard. I'm assuming this can be killed with either 7 military or 7 that I can use both kinds of combat on it at once, basically. I don't even know about that. Yeah, this is different from what I expected. I have not seen something with multiple defenses, multiple types of defense listed on it. Obviously, it's vulnerable to both, but do I have to use one or the other, or can I combine them to get the seven cards? Might have to look that up. In terms of attacks, he's already got some Squalor. Of course, I'm canceling that out. But that's kind of an interesting idea. The marketplace gets rid of some of that. That's particularly useful, but only if flourished. Ugh. And coin production's not useful to me. Let me see how many cards I have. I have 10. So I'm not going to be able to buy this no matter what. With no eyes, I can just throw that away. That's not going to come into play. The marketplace is really interesting. I definitely want the Hamlet. Should I build both? There are a fair amount of marketplaces in the game. I think I'll build both. I get to see what I've got that I'm losing here. Another castle. Multiple castles would be fantastic. They're very, very powerful. Church of Rome, which gives me the A. Scholar, who's not terribly useful except for holding cards. And then some combat cards. This gets rid of a B key. And we put these into play. So I'm going to get more victory points next time. That is going to put me over here. We'll go another one. 2 more of these. Oh shit. I forgot about the exhaustion stuff. Fuck. It's not in the back, it's here. Exhaustion, 7 or more cards in the build, haven't done that. Flipped over 7 or more when attacking with conflict, haven't done that. And choosing tactics from a hand of 7 or more cards, that's the weird one. That's the, wow, I don't know why that is considered an advantage. That feels to me like a really fucking horrible thing. Because one of your cards, sure, it might be a very powerful combat card, but the rest are just getting thrown away. I also get another coin. I held coins instead of cards because they're more flexible. The cards go back in my deck, I know nothing about them, but the coins I can use for combat after I see the results, or I can use them for building. So I think you never want to you never want to have a bunch of build, like you'd rather hoard coins all the time rather than build cards. Combat cards are different because they might be worth more than 1 each. They probably will. And there you don't have to make the decision with the coins until after you see your results, so that they're really, really powerful. You don't want to count on using coins. You want to make sure that you have a good chance of winning the fight without using the coins. But you don't necessarily, having coins gives you a flexibility to not necessarily have to make sure that you're going to win the fight. This is kind of painful. I don't know what to do. I want to throw 5 in and hold 3. But I don't know that 5 is enough. I do have coins. That helps. So let's do that. And screw the combat. I've got a decent amount of cards in there. I've got some coins. So we get more visions. Wow. We could build this up. We could flourish Washington. What does that give me? That gives me more defense on him. That's neat. Doesn't give me more victory points. We could flourish Jefferson. We can't play either of those cards on their own. Flourishing Jefferson makes him more defensible. Not much else. He's got a good combat rating. I'm not really too excited about either of these. And I don't know that I particularly want to put them under stuff. Although I could store them all. So let's put Jefferson and Washington under Jefferson. Let's put this under here. Or, you know what? Let's put Washington under Jefferson. We put a Jefferson under Franklin. And now we only have a 1-card hand. So I can put this 3-point Jefferson over here. That's a good attack card. And again, I know something about my attack cards. I hope I took my victory point. Gonna have a real hard time. I must have, because I'm almost as high as he is, and I didn't build anything on my first turn. Battery's not working again. I feel like I have to stop right now. But we're going to be collecting 3 of those progress markers on the next turn. A couple hours snooze. I keep snoozing a couple hours at a time. I think it's got to do with this new game because it's got its own timing and schedule. I'm not going to be playing it for long. But like Raid, it does what it does. We deal out a new 8-card hand and figure out what's going on. But we're already halfway there. 8 points. Highlight something. The game is not going to be a long game. I.e., you're not going to be running through the deck multiple times. You might reshuffle once, but whatever you do that might have something to do with manipulation of the deck, it's probably going to be pretty minor. Yes, putting cards away before that reshuffle might be problematic. Cards that are not going to be in the reshuffle are something to consider, but only. You're not going to be able to keep something out of play for a long time. All right, so what's going on? What are my thoughts? Because I'm kind of back at the game for new. I'm making my race. There's an enemy, but I cancel him out. And I've got a second one of those if need be, and I've got a shield. So it's very unlikely I'm going to get hit. So I just want to expand my situation. Build cards. I have 3, 4, 5. I do not have an eye. I'm going to put 5 more cards in here. Give me a lot of capacity to build. Maybe I get another castle, which will really strengthen my position. Yes, I do. I also get this, a money card. Put that out. That'll start generating. I have Crown Loyalists, which gives me one of these. That would be able to, attack Washington or Jefferson. For some reason, Franklin is actually immortal, even though he's the oldest of the bunch. Jefferson didn't go to war, so I don't know. And it's not like these are war markers. Do I have 9? I think so. Do I want these Crown Royalists out there? Might as well. A whole shit ton of cards into there. This is almost done. But I got this. Now I have an attack possibility. I know how many chits I have on this card, but I don't remember how many it was. Like, I put that top card in there. This is the problem with walking away. How likely would I be to remember? I don't know. He comes with a key. I don't know how important that is, but he comes with 2 eyes and a card under him. I'm going to take a crack at him. So I'm going to fire off, this is during the conflict phase after the card play, I'm going to fire off a skull at him. It was a lot. That will kill Jefferson. And this card goes away as well. I still don't have anywhere to use this, so we move things over. He's down to only gaining 1 victory per turn. It gives him a set of 5. Keeping him in rows of 5 just for easier counting. It looks like this game is decided, to tell you the truth. I also will get another coin. That's my one advantage, is that I have a flow of coins. Now, I don't see anything that I could do strategy-wise that would have helped. But then again, I also don't know what I've been putting in these piles and whatnot. But it definitely feels like the Crusaders have the edge on this. Don't know why. You know, again, it could just be a luck factor. There's going to be a lot of luck in this game because you're burying cards without knowing what they are and everything. And, you know, you just might not get the right cards. But these feel incredibly powerful compared to what I'm sitting with here on the American side. Coins and whatnot, I'm going to drop 4 cards into my build pile. I still need to be able to build things, and that, you know, is constantly getting depleted. And I pull things up. Okay. I have a Continental Army. That allows me to do things. Fight this, for example. Not well. That's got a base cost of 6. I could flourish it and make it more defensible, or I could build 2 of them, but that's really expensive. I have Hamilton, who's not terribly helpful to me. I have the Arab Empire, who adds 2 of these, but they're canceled out by this. Like, I just don't see how I can stop him, is really the problem. Let me count my cards and see what I can come up with. Total of 9 cards. I could do the Continental Army, because I have the A. Wait, he didn't cancel A, did he? No. Looking all over to see what I got. 8, I flourish it. That makes it a little bit more defensible. Is that really a wise idea? No, I don't think it is. I think the hell with that. And I'm going to put 2 for this. Out of my 9 cards, I'm blowing 8 of them. I could have spent a coin in the last card to flourish this. I don't want to do that. He's up to 4. That's going to put me to 12. Next turn he gets, he wins if nothing happens. And that's why it wasn't all that important to flourish this. It's more important to have cards out here. I can't play any of these attacks. They're all canceled out. So I had no opportunity to do any damage at this point. I could have attacked something here. Actually, let me think about that before I go on. The Boston Tea Party could attack that. I kind of don't want to use up my attack cards, though. I gotta stop him. That's the problem. I'm so far behind the 8 ball that almost anything I do is just going to kill me. I need to build, and I need to draw cards and build in order to get more attacks to hit these things. And I can't destroy these. He's going to get 2 a turn. It just looks absolutely hopeless for the for the rebels. Oh, fuck. More than that, they destroyed who? They destroyed a Jefferson card. That's actually up here with a destroyed marker on it. That's no longer in my discards, and it's one of the 3 destructions I need. And you can kind of see, like, yeah, if I got enough attacks, I could get 2 destructions in. But I just feel weaker in every single fucking way. I think I have to hold my cards and hope to do a lot of damage. But honestly, I just don't think... I think this game is lost. I think it's time to concede. In this strong position with the Crusaders... Next turn I win. The only important thing from my point of view is to make sure I get that next turn. And I think the best way of doing that would be if I had attack cards here so that I could kill these things off. I don't. But that doesn't mean I might not draw some. I don't have a lot of build capability. putting 7 cards in gets me an exhaustion marker, right? If I put them in the build tile. What's that's going to do is prevent me from doing that again unless I put a progress symbol in. Do I want the exhaustion? I mean, we're talking about the difference between 6 and 7 cards. I have a coin now. Let's just put 6 in, see what we get. We get the Church of Rome, which gives us the A key that we don't need so far. It only costs 4 cards to play. I guess we'll play it. It's not flourishable. I'm not going to play a second one. It's not flourishable and it's individual. So it goes in there. It's a shitty card though. So, hey. What about attacks? I have these. If I could kill Washington, that gets me another red marker. Also, don't know. I think he can still play more Washingtons. He could bring him back from the dead. Killing this, not that important. The only thing this does is attacks those. So I'm going to take a crack at good old Washington here. And I'm using the death card. I can only use one. We get 2 stars. It takes 3 to kill Washington. We'll play a coin. Just because that's a second destroyed card. That gives us another avenue towards winning. Although he's got no markers now. Puts us back over here. His situation is looking uglier and uglier. He's not even gaining victory points anymore. He is gaining a coin for Franklin and the Treasury. And let's draw. This is his last chance, basically. This is if I don't drop any attacks. I am going to put 6 and 2 in, because my build pile is so low. Do I want a third one? Would be the top card here. And notice we still haven't reshuffled at all. So it's completely been the luck of the draw. I've had no influence on what cards I'm going to get. I think that's probably odd. That may change next turn. But let's take a third one. I don't know. Okay, what do we get? We get another U.S. Treasury. That's useful in case we get more money out there. We have a Continental Army, doesn't help us, and a John Adams, which gives us a B key. Again, neither one helps us. At the beginning of next turn, for the Crusaders, they get 4 more of these. We have no attacks we're allowed to make against them. This is game over. So I'm just going to call it here. Again, it didn't feel like there was much I could do. It felt like the Crusaders just dominated this across the board. I don't know how to cope with this. Those castles are potent. Yeah. Whereas this deck seemed to be struggling to put up, a victory point situation, and being put in a position where I had to search for fighting capability, extreme fighting capability, and put me in a place where I couldn't produce. I was just drawing, hoping for something magical and lucky that probably isn't in the deck. I don't know if it's a matter that, like, I got a particularly lucky draw with the Crusaders. It doesn't feel that way. It feels like their deck just overpowers this deck. Now, that may not mean, like, there may be a balance, like, you know, like a rock, paper, scissors type thing, where this deck is weak against this one, but is good against another one that can beat this one. Who knows? But the game is got to be balanced between all these decks, I feel, because it's not like part of the game is choosing your deck secretly or something like that, and racking up wins of that sort. This looks really, really ugly for the Patriot revolutionaries, whatever you want to call them. It's really strange to call traitors patriots, isn't it? I don't know. I mean, they were traitors to their home country. Rebels, we'll call them, but they're often called the patriot leaders in America, and it's like, yeah, no, they were disloyal. They were traitors. There were loyalists and there were rebels. And which side? What do you call rebels? Do you call them patriots? No, I think traitors is the word for them. Anyway. Now I have the one cleanup facet of the game, which is you have to hunt through both decks, pull all the red cards, and exchange them. And all the red cards have to be kept stacked separately from the other cards, just to make things work. But it's not a huge deal, but it's, you know, as opposed to like a game of Magic where you just return the few cards that maybe the other guy has a marker on and is captured or whatever. Here, you're looking at, yeah, I got to sort through my deck and pull out cards and give them back over. It is weird. It's an interesting mechanism to have enemy cards in your deck, right? Anyway, something which will go away in the multiplayer game because the enemy cards will be all segmented out anyway in that. Let's load this up. It was kind of fun to play in just it's cool to do the mechanical actions and make the decisions and everything. That's all I can say about it. This is not exceeding my expectations in terms of being a quality strategy game, and it sure the hell doesn't feel like anything in particular when I'm running, you know, two things, you know, look, the Crusaders have their own little story and the Rebels have their own little story, and you could piece that together, but I'm not seeing the story. All I'm seeing is the points on the cards. Once you get to this kind of abstraction, it stops, you know, whetting that imagination and making you see anything. So the theme doesn't even really carry over much. The only thing I'm worrying about is what the little numbers on the cards are. I'm focused on game and nothing else. So, you know, it just becomes an inspiration for the differentials between, or the differences between the decks. All right, let's send it up.